Fellow gardeners, let's talk about the elephant in the garden shed. Traditional composting is time-consuming, labor-intensive, and frankly, a bit of a pain. You've probably stood over a steaming pile, pitchfork in hand, wondering if there's a better way to turn your kitchen scraps into garden gold. Well, there is, and it's going to revolutionize how you think about composting forever. What is trench composting and why does it work so well? Trench composting, also known as pit composting or dig and drop composting, is exactly what it sounds like. You dig a small trench directly in your garden bed and bury your organic waste right where your plants will benefit most. This method harnesses the natural decomposition process that happens underground, where soil microorganisms, earthworms, and beneficial bacteria work tirelessly to break down organic matter without any intervention from you. The reason this method is, honestly, about 3 times faster than traditional pile composting comes down to optimal conditions. When you bury organic matter in soil, you create the perfect environment for anaerobic and aerobic decomposition to occur at the same time. The soil provides insulation, maintaining consistent moisture levels and temperature, while the buried scraps attract earthworms like a magnet. These underground engineers create tunnels that naturally aerate the decomposing material so you don't have to worry about manual turning. Unlike surface compost piles that lose moisture to evaporation and, require constant monitoring, trench composting maintains steady decomposition rates all year round. The soil acts as a natural blanket, preventing those boom and bust cycles that tend to slow down traditional composting methods. The beauty of trench composting lies in its simplicity, but getting the dimensions and placement right will maximize your results. Start by digging trenches that are approximately 12 to 18 inches deep and 8 to 12 inches wide. The length can vary depending on your garden size and the amount of organic waste you generate, but most households find that 3 to 4 feet works perfectly for weekly additions. Location is crucial for success. Choose areas where you plan to plant heavy feeders like tomatoes, peppers, squash, or fruit trees in the upcoming season. These crops will benefit enormously from the slow-release nutrients that develop as your buried scraps decompose. Avoid placing trenches too close to existing plant roots, as the initial decomposition process can temporarily tie up nitrogen in the soil. The timing of your trench preparation matters too. If you're planning for spring planting, dig your trenches in fall or early winter. This gives the buried organic matter time to break down and stabilize before your plants need the nutrients. For continuous composting throughout the growing season, create multiple trenches and rotate between them, allowing each to rest and finish decomposing while you fill the others. Understanding what materials work best in trench composting will determine your success rate and prevent potential problems. Kitchen scraps form the backbone of this system. Fruit and vegetable peels, coffee grounds and filters tea bags, eggshells and small amounts of food waste decompose beautifully underground. Coffee grounds are particularly valuable because they add nitrogen and slightly acidify the soil, benefiting acid-loving plants. Garden waste like grass clippings, fallen leaves, and soft plant trimmings can be added, but they should be chopped into smaller pieces to speed decomposition. Avoid adding large woody materials, diseased plant matter, or anything treated with pesticides. These materials either won't break down quickly enough or could introduce problems to your soil ecosystem. The carbon-to-nitrogen ratio still matters in trench composting, though it's more forgiving than traditional methods. Aim for a mix of green materials like kitchen scraps and fresh grass clippings, and brown materials such as dried leaves, paper scraps, or cardboard. Proper layering transforms good trench composting into exceptional results. Start with a thin layer of dry leaves or shredded paper at the bottom of your trench. This creates drainage and prevents the organic matter from becoming waterlogged. Then add your kitchen scraps in layers no thicker than 4 inches, interspersing them with thin layers of soil or finished compost. This soil layering is critical because it introduces the microorganisms needed for decomposition and prevents the formation of anaerobic pockets that can create unpleasant odors. Think of each soil layer as inoculating your organic waste with billions of beneficial decomposers that will work around the clock to break down your scraps. Top off each addition with at least 4 inches of soil or a combination of soil and mulch. This covering prevents odors, keeps pests away, and maintains the proper moisture balance. During dry periods, you'll want to water the area lightly to keep decomposition active, but be careful not to overwater, since that can create soggy, anaerobic conditions. The most efficient trench composting systems actually involve multiple trenches operating on rotation. Try creating 3 to 4 trenches in different areas of your garden, filling one completely before moving on to the next. This kind of rotation lets each trench finish decomposing while you're busy filling others, and honestly, it creates a continuous cycle of soil improvement. Go ahead and mark your trenches with simple garden stakes and jot down the date you started and finished filling each one. Most trenches will be ready for planting somewhere between 3 to 6 months after you finish adding materials, depending on your climate and the materials you used. So, consider the seasonal timing of your crops when you're planning out those trench locations. Place trenches where you'll plant your spring crops during the previous fall, and then, locate summer crop trenches during late winter or early spring. Even the laziest composting method can occasionally hit a few snags, but honestly, most problems have pretty simple solutions. If you notice unpleasant odors developing, you've likely added too much green material or maybe just haven't covered the scraps well enough. Simply add more soil covering and include more brown materials in your future additions. Pest problems usually indicate, insufficient covering or maybe some inappropriate materials. Make sure you're burying scraps under at least 4 inches of soil and avoid adding meat, dairy, or oily foods, since those can really attract unwanted visitors. If rodents become an issue, you might want to consider covering your trenches with hardware cloth buried just under the soil surface. Slow decomposition often results from poor moisture management or a lack of nitrogen. In dry climates, occasional watering keeps the process active while in very wet areas. Adding more brown materials helps balance out those moisture levels. If decomposition seems stalled, just dig down and check the moisture content. It should feel, like a wrung-out sponge. Trench composting, creates lasting improvements to your garden's soil structure and fertility that extend far beyond just the immediate nutrient boost. As organic matter decomposes underground, it forms stable humus that, improves soil aggregation, increases water retention, and really enhances the soil's ability to hold nutrients for future plant use. The earthworm populations that trench composting encourages, they actually provide ongoing benefits long after the original organic matter has decomposed. These little soil engineers keep aerating the soil, create channels for root growth, and leave behind nutrient-rich castings throughout the root zone. Many gardeners, myself included, notice improved soil structure and plant health for years after starting trench composting in their beds. This method also builds soil carbon over time, which, honestly, contributes to long-term soil health and climate resilience. Unlike traditional composting, where some carbon is lost to the atmosphere during the turning process, trench composting sequesters more carbon in the soil, making it a more sustainable gardening practice overall. So, are you ready to revolutionize your composting game and grow the most productive garden you've ever had? This lazy composting method is going to save you time, reduce your workload, and, trust me, deliver better results than you ever thought possible. Don't forget to subscribe to Smart Garden for more game-changing gardening tips that make growing your own food easier and, honestly, a lot more rewarding. Share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to work smarter, not harder, and let's grow an amazing community of lazy composters together.